Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to my channel. This is my mother and one of my best friends. I absolutely love her. She has totally changed my life. I know that I would be a completely different person if it weren't for my mother. And
thank you.
I know I've told her that before because I know being a mom now, it's nice to hear those things, but I know that I would not be the person I am and love God to the extent that I am if it weren't for my mother. And so I just really wanted to kind of open her up to you guys. And so I asked on Instagram if you guys had any questions, and a lot of you had quite a few of questions. So we're just going to go over those questions today, and I hope that her wisdom and all that she has gone through spiritually will help you guys as well. So here we go. Beautiful Journey asks, I would love to hear advice she has on parenting and raising a large family. I'm a mother of 8 and we are just entering the teenage years with our oldest. It always seems to be seen as a negative time. Any advice on staying close through the child, teen, and adult transition time?
The only thing that comes to mind when I think about it is that because your older children are going to be exposed to so much more of the world that you don't want your younger children exposed to, that it's very important that you keep them close, protect them in all ways, so that they can't bring things in. It was an easy way for us to keep our home pure and clean of things we didn't want in there, because we always stated that we didn't want the younger children to see those things or to experience those things or have those things around. So that made it easier for us to get the older ones through some of the harder questions and difficult times.
All right. Very nice.
Excuse me.
If playing doesn't come naturally as a mom, how do you leave a fun impact on your kids' lives while enjoying it yourself?
I think for me, I didn't do a lot of playing with my kids. My mom didn't do a lot of playing with me. So when I remember one time, mom sitting down at a little table and chairs with me and having plates, and I set it up to have company over. I think for myself, I might have made it a few more times than one with my children. And I see that my children are doing a lot better at playing with their children. As Heather and I talked about this earlier, we think more of a generational thing. It's such a pressure now to always be playing with your kids and interacting with them. And I guess having a large family, my older children were always playing and interacting with my younger children, so it wasn't that big of a deal. They weren't looking for playmates and things to do all the time. They were very creative, went outside to play a lot. Every now and then I would get down and play with them, and when I did, I went all out. Like, I would get all the different blocks out and all the different Legos out and we'd build ski hills and mountains and cabins and cities, and it was kind of supposed to last for a few years, I guess, each time I would get down there and get into it. But seldom did I have all my house in order and my dishes done and meals made and laundry done that I really took a lot of time out to play. I think
it's hard with 8 kids.
Yeah,
I can only imagine.
children. So yeah, it just wasn't that big of a deal back then. It wasn't like we were told in different classes to get down and play with your kids.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right. Did your prayer life change once you got married? Did your prayer life change?
I don't think it really did. I think obviously when children come in, they take some of your space and time and mental space. I think your husband is pretty much, either on board or not on board. And so your prayer life, I didn't find that it changed a lot. I think I knew that it was really important that as we had children, that we build these faith foundations for our children to have that would carry them all through the years in our home of praying together. And it was for sure, we prayed every Sunday a rosary, and we prayed, just when needed otherwise. But I know when my children went into the public school system that I worked with them at the counter as they were having their cereal. I would go through a lot of our faith formation class things and taught them a lot that way before they left for the public school, because it was really hard for me to see that that we weren't able to send them to a private school, that they had to go to the public school. That was very helpful for me to feel good about, working on our faith every morning before they went to school. So that was kind of.
And what advice would you give yourself, your 23-year-old self?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that I would definitely tell myself that the little things that you do on a daily basis and that you do every day are really important. So like I've seen my daughter do with her children, and I love joining in every single night before they go to bed. They have prayer time. And I just think it moves mountains. It means a lot to bring Christ into the family that way, and in gratitude always. So I think I would definitely tell myself to instill a few more of those things if possible. And I would just do it, the prayer time. I had a friend who said she had a large family, and she put a real candle in the middle of the floor, and every single night all of her children and her would sit around the candle and they would say their nightly prayers. And I just think that's so beautiful, and it just makes God so happy to worship Him and to praise Him that way, to glorify Him.
Yeah. Laura would love to hear about your faith journey. Maybe could you tell them your conversion story?
Well, my conversion story was at a marriage encounter retreat where the Lord touched my heart in such a deep way that I wept and wept and wept. And I wasn't weeping for the things I had done so much as weeping for joy as to having been touched deeply by His love, changing everything, the way I looked at everything in life, what was important, what wasn't important. And I think then having God placing good examples in my life. I had a neighbor who was a very dear friend of mine who taught me the Rosary and prayed it devoutly and shared many saint stories and talked a lot about saints with me, and just really, really helped me to grow. It's one thing to be touched by the love, but then where do I go from there? How do I get fed other than at Holy Mass? And I started to go to daily Mass as well. And the sacraments were extremely important, especially confession. I found that with confession, when you have a difficult subject going on in your life of any kind, after going to confession, somehow it seems clearer, and you can see through the fog, and your answers, even if they're just within, seem to come so much better after confession. Highly recommend confession for any difficult situations you find yourself in.
Definitely. And what are your devotions?
My devotions is kind of neat because as I put my scapula on for showering, as I take it off and as I put it on, I kiss my scapula, I kiss the medals on them. I have St. Benedict who wards off evil spirits, and I feel very protected by him. I have a story that my husband, he had a crucifix given to him by a dear friend, and it had the Benedictine medal on it, and he had a difficult situation that rectified itself. And a dear friend, I gave her a cross with the Benedictine medal, and her difficult situation also rectified itself. So I highly, highly believe in the help of St. Benedict. And then St. Simon Stock, who gave us the scapula, and then Padre Pio. So I kiss my scapula on, kiss it off, as I take it on, as I take it off, and also my medals. And Padre Pio has just been very, very good for me. And all of a sudden coming up, there's going to be, Padre Pio's body is going to be at a place where I'm going to be going for a little trip with my mom and sisters the day before the trips in the same area, like right in the same area. So I'm excited to go there ahead of time. Also, different things, I think, changing up in your morning routine, like morning, each morning, like if I can't go to daily Mass, then I have prayers that my daughter had left a book at my house for one of her sisters. And that book, I opened it to morning prayer, and it was very beautiful. And so I started praying that every morning, Our Father, Hail Mary, Glory be, and then it's a morning intention. And so I was praying that every morning, and sometimes things change, not sure why, but you move into another different prayer every morning. But so that you have some kind of, sometimes I'll do my Magnificat in the morning. Sometimes I won't get to it till the afternoon, but I try to prepare for Holy Mass with the Magnificat readings beforehand, the morning readings. And I found those to be very good for reading for my middle school age children as well, because they're nice, they're wordy in the way of not simpleness, but they actually give them some food for thought in faith. And I thought that they were able to understand it. And the more I read it to them, the more they understood it. Kind of like when you're reading the Bible. The more you read it, the more you understand it. So.
Did you say the Rosary?
Oh yes, and the Rosary daily. Yes, thank you. Yeah, the Rosary. And then I also have, right now, I'm doing a 12-year novena, and it is to Saint Bridget. And she also had 8 children, and very beautiful prayers that our Lord worked with her on. And very, very beautiful gifts from saying this 12-year novena every day. So, yeah, you have to look it up. Yeah.
Okay. Someone would like to know any tips on how to create your own me time as a mom.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit. My me time as a mom of young children was in the bathroom, in the bathtub, because I loved to read when I was in the bathtub, and I was by myself in there, and that was the only spot I could find. Otherwise, our home was shared with everyone, all the kids, you know. So, very beautiful. Love to take my Magnificat in there, and my readings, and my books, my Bible study, anything. That's where I would usually enjoy private me time. Sorry I can't say more how to find it or where to get it, but it's okay, you know, it comes. And as you feel gratified with raising your children and how well they're doing, you find that you have more and more time to do some of the things you were hoping that you might enjoy doing.
Yeah. And the last question, there's a couple more, but I think that's all the time that we'll have time for. If she has any advice on how to manage children in church to behave during Mass.
Well, the only thing is obviously separate those who are being rambunctious. But I made a couple little books, and these books have photos in them. You know, it was a book that I put together myself, and they have photos of the Holy Family, so St. Joseph, maybe the saint of their feast day of their birth, the saint of their baptismal day, saint of their confirmation if they've been confirmed. So adding all those pictures, and then pictures of your children as well. So as they're going through Mass, you know how kids love to look at pictures of themselves when they were younger. As they take that to Mass, it would be not only a picture with Holy Family, holy cards, it would also be pictures of them, and oftentimes significant pictures. The holy pictures would be significant of their own lives, and saints that maybe touched their mom when she was pregnant, or things that your mom had visited, and then she was able to conceive you, you know, different shrines and stuff like that. So I just ran across a couple of those as we were going through photos a couple weeks ago, and it was so beautiful to see those again, and all the different pictures put together in there. So, and then I just highly recommend the books that you bring to church, that they're about Christ, they're about Mary, they're about the Beatitudes, you know, as many as you can come across, you know, switch them up, you know, change them up. There's rosaries, there's little manger scenes that are soft, you know, so that you can bring those to church too, so that they're surrounded by it as well as looking at it in pictures and stuff. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah. And I had to remember when we went to church, we didn't really have anything. I don't think you'd let us have anything. And we went to Mass at, was it 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock?
Yeah. We went to the 8 o'clock every Sunday because they had no food in them yet, so they weren't too rambunctious at all. And we had a lot of comments on how well behaved our children were. That's because they didn't have any food yet. They always had
We
to
were
wait
still
until
half
after.
asleep.
Yeah. Yep. And really good, well behaved, just because they were sedated
Yeah.
by their lack of food and sleep. But as soon as we got home, we had a big breakfast every Sunday morning.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's all we have time for. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next time.